Hello traders, welcome back to the Blueberry Funded Trader Spotlight, where we sit down with our traders to talk about their journey, strategy, and how they became the trader that they are today. Today we're very lucky to be joined by Soumya Sassoon, content creator, trader with Blueberry Funded, right here from Dubai after the Forex Expo. Soumya, it's great to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really looking forward to this conversation.
Fantastic. I mean, we haven't had a chance to do many trader spotlights in person. I mean, we've done a few podcasts here in Dubai. This is the only trader spotlight one, so we're very excited for it. How have you found Dubai so far?
I love it here. It's my fourth time in Dubai, and I really love the city, the nightlife, the vibes, everything. It is so busy around, and I love the city.
It's amazing. I mean, same here. I think it's my sixth time here, and I'm never getting bored of it. I mean, there's always something on or something fun, and it's amazing. And you were here for the Forex Expo as well.
Yes, that was my purpose of visit.
Fantastic. How did you find it?
It was very insightful. I met a lot of traders, a lot of investors, a lot of IBs, and a lot of founders in the AI space, trading space, everything. So it was a very nice event, especially when it comes to networking and getting to know about the different resources which are available for traders like us. It was good.
Fantastic. And is this your first time at the Forex Expo or?
No, interestingly, I actually came for the expo last year around this time, and that was pretty good. This was my second time.
Okay, fantastic. Well, I guess just to dive straight into it, did you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started in trading?
So currently, right now, I'm 22 years old. And when I discovered trading, I was 18. I had recently graduated from high school, and initially when I was a kid, I wanted to always go to the medical school. I wanted to become a doctor, but that didn't happen. And then I ended up doing a degree in my undergraduate in economics. And there was this random day, I honestly don't even remember, where I just stumbled across this video on YouTube talking about stocks, talking about options, futures. So I just watched that video and I was like, that sounds really interesting. Let me just see what's it all about. And that's when I actually started trading. I actually started learning about trading, and then I made my demat account. And my trading journey actually began in the Indian markets. And I started with equity. And then, like all beginners, I fell into the whole signals and like tips, all of that, Telegram group.
The easy money, as they call it. Not so easy, actually.
It is not easy. It is not at all easy, but I fell for that. And also, I was pretty young back then. I was like 18 as compared to now. I just watched a random video and then I educated myself about it, and I started trading without actually learning much, and then I lost a couple of money, and then again I refilled my account and I again lost money, and then that's when I realized that it is not a game. I need to really research about it and get into it. My journey started with options, which is pretty risky, leverage instruments, quick money. The first day it was my first day trading, and that was just beginner's luck, I guess. I made some money and I got really happy. I was like, I'll just wake up tomorrow and just buy any option. And then I woke up and I bought another Nifty option. Nifty is like NASDAQ in the Indian market.
Nifty 50. It's the best named index in the world because it rhymes. I've always loved it.
Nifty 50. And then the next day I just bought a put option. I didn't even know what call and put options were back then. And I just bought it and I made money, and I was able to actually convert my $50 into $100 in a week. And I was like, that's it. I've made it. I know what trading is. And then the next week, I blew my entire account. And then that kept happening. That's when I actually thought of maybe moving to equity first and becoming profitable trading stocks before actually going to options. And then, I used to swing trade, and then I tried scalping. And right now what I do is day trading. And I just realized that swing trading was not really good for me, for my mindset, because when I used to go to bed, I would just think about my open positions in the market and I couldn't sleep. I used to keep thinking what's going to happen tomorrow when the market opens due to like swing trading. I didn't like to hold positions. I still don't hold positions overnight. And then I tried scalping, and again, that gave me so much of stress, and I used to panic a lot when I used to see the P&L fluctuating. And then I figured it's somewhat like a sweet spot. I figured out day trading, and then I hold my trades somewhere around 1 to 3 hours, and then I'm out of the market.
So you brought a few points up here that I really want to explore, because I find it's very interesting that, so you tried options and
Yeah.
you said, this is too much leverage, it's
Yeah.
too much risk, I'm going to move into equities. And I think that's a very interesting move, because usually people do the other thing where they start in equities, it's slow growth, it's very different, and they're like, I need more leverage ASAP. But it's very interesting you made a very calculated and informed decision. I mean, I know on Blueberry Funded, we have stricter leverage than a lot of other firms. And I always say leverage, it's like your greatest ally and your worst enemy at the same time, because it's only valuable to you if you know how to use it. Otherwise, it amplifies your mistakes. So I find that very interesting. I guess the other thing is, so at what point, so you're doing options and then equities, where did you make the move or the transition into CFDs?
CFDs was much later in my journey. I just stuck with the Indian market for a year. And then I think it was 2022, that's when I discovered Forex and CFDs. I started trading with live accounts. And that's when I realized that there was something called as prop firms as well. And because the biggest problem for me was, as a student, as a university student, I did not have a big capital to trade with. I hardly had like 200, 300 USD saved up, which wasn't enough. That's when I got to know about prop firms, and I saw that there is a lot of scalability and opportunity here. And yeah, eventually I moved to Forex for numerous reasons. The first reason was timing. Since I used to go to college, I couldn't trade the Indian markets during the day, which was from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. It is not open for 24 hours, which is when I thought that I should trade CFDs, because I can come back from university and then I can trade during the evening. That's how I discovered Forex. And other than that, access to capital, since I knew that there were firms who would trust me and I can give them my skill and they can give me their capital. And that was a win-win situation for the firm and me. That's when I started with Forex. And also, since the Forex market is open for 24 hours, we do not really have gap ups and gap downs. The gaps are only after the weekend or if there's a very big red folder news. But when I was trading the stock market, since it closes every day, I used to see a lot of gap ups and gap downs. So when I used to mark my zones, the next day I would come to trade and I would see that the market has gapped up or down. My zones are not valid anymore. These are few reasons, which is why I moved to CFDs.
It's a very common story I found. I mean, obviously India is one of our biggest regions, and we've seen so much success there as a firm and success from traders. And what's very interesting is a lot of those traders are a lot younger than the average CFD prop client, and especially broker client. So I find that very interesting. Why do you think it is this common journey? I mean, is it the reasons you just said? People start on equities, options, trading in India, and then they make this transition over to CFDs. Why do you think there's been this surge of popularity in that transition happening, and prop firms especially?
The main reason, which I think, is the access to capital. If you want to trade on your live account, you need a big capital. Even if you make, let's say, 2 to 3% a month, that is not going to seem significant enough if you have a small capital. But the main reasons why traders like me, we like prop firms, is because we can give our skill and we have a lot of capital. For me, making 2-3% on a 100K account is really good for me. But if I make the same 2-3% on a $500,000 account, that's not going to seem much, which is why I will start to over-risk and I will start to risk 20-30% of my capital, because I want to make that much of money with my small capital, which is not possible and which is not realistic. If you want to stay in the game for the long run, don't chase higher returns, chase higher capital.
Yeah, that's been a big theme of this conference. We've done many podcasts, interviews, discussions, and the message of this whole conference and prop trading, and even like part of Blueberry Funded's ethos, is don't overtrade. And we make the rules in a way where it's actually harder for people to overtrade. With things like rules that prohibit martingale, position stacking, fixed lot size rules, and all those things are there to really help the trader in that. So I guess in your journey, so you start trading prop firms, you'll want to focus more on larger account sizes than smaller ones, as you can obviously get more money for value there, more return on capital with, more meaningful return on capital, because you can make only a few percent and that's worth a lot more rather than 30% on a tiny account.
Yeah.
So what was then your journey to getting to payouts?
It did take me a while. I was not a funded trader, not a profitable trader for about 2.5 years to 3 years in my journey. I got funded a year back, more than a year back, like 1.5 year back. And yeah, it did take me a while, because you need to find your edge in the market and you need to find a strategy which works for you. If there's a strategy that works for me, it might not work for you. It really depends on who you are as a person, what is your mindset like, what is your anything. It's just your timing, your schedule, what is your patience level. It really depends on you, which is why we see that there are a lot of scalpers who are profitable. But if I scalped, then I wasn't profitable when I used to scalp. It really depends on person to person and finding a strategy that works. And since we have something like YouTube now, which earlier people didn't have, like people used to literally draw the candlestick charts on paper and then make a strategy. But right now, there's too much information. There are so many strategies, and you get lost in that, and you get confused, and you don't really know which one to follow. And which is why I feel like this happened with me, and I'm sure a lot of traders can relate, that we keep changing strategies and we never really stick with one strategy for a long time. When I started sticking with one strategy for a long time, that's when I started to get profitable, and that's when I saw that this really works.
So you've raised a really interesting point there, because I have a big interest in not just behavioral economics, but behavioral finance. And there was a very interesting study that showed when you switch investment streams, when you switch strategy, on average, in US markets this is, but I think it applies globally, you lose like 1%, which is quite a lot. So I think like the math always backs that up, is that like the more you switch, like the higher chance, there is a capital loss cost of switching strategies. But I think you're definitely right when it comes to just what we see online now, because I think there was a sweet spot a while ago where Forex CFDs, it's online, you're still learning online, but there were a lot less people in it. And look, I think I love how prolific this industry has become. I didn't predict it would continue to grow to this point 5 years ago. Like I wouldn't have believed a conference like the last 2 days with the turnout, the energy of traders, the sort of the vibe of it. I wouldn't have predicted that can happen. But the problem is now the downside of that though, is there's so much more information out there. There's more content creators, there's more courses, more people trying to mentor people, and I think the barrier for doing that's decreased a lot now too. So we're seeing that space grow a lot, but it makes it harder to pick a strategy or to know who to trust and who not to trust. We also see a lot of scams in the creator space and the course selling space and everything like that. So I definitely agree with that, but it also, I guess, brings me to my other point too. So you've gotten into content creation a lot as well as part of your trading. So at what point did you start that, and what was sort of the goal behind it, or what made you do it?
I've been trading from the last 4 years, but I started creating content about 6 months back, 7 months back. And in fact, I got serious with my content like 4 months back, because my first thing was to help people who want to learn how to trade, because it's simple. When I was not profitable, when I wasn't funded, what was the kind of content which I wanted to watch? That's the problem which I'm solving. And it is just showing the reality of trading, and not just showing P&Ls and not just showing a lifestyle, but it is also showing the downsides of trading and being real with the audience and actually connecting with the audience, and just trying to help people out and provide content for free to begin with, and just helping people out and giving them trustworthy sources and collaborating with trustworthy firms and actually guiding them in making informed decisions. That is my first goal. And secondly, if I can help somebody make money, if I can just help somebody I'm not even saying that when you start trading, you'll be able to become extremely rich to begin with, but even if you have like small goals, paying your phone bill with trading, begin with a goal like that. If I can help somebody do that, paying small bills by trading, I think then that's my purpose.
And I really like that, because I think we always look at the goal of trading, or a lot of the message sent by influencers, content creators, is to get rich, or even at a lesser than that, become a full-time career trader. But what I think is really underrated and is a good way to start is you're trading part-time. It's helping you earn an extra income. If you want to call it a side hustle or something like that, you can. But it's really helping you achieve smaller goals in your life too, because it all adds up. Ultimately, and you're diversifying your income. I mean, look, if you're working a full-time job, even if you can add 5-10% to your income through trading, that's a huge win at the end of the day, because you might stay at that same job for another 2-3 years before you get a 5 or a 10% pay rise or something, or you move to another role. But with trading, it allows you to sort of do that on the side to your existing job, and I think that's really important. But you highlighted something I really like, which I think is important too, which is highlighting the downsides of being a trader. Because honestly, I think the majority of the time, even if you're very profitable long-term career trader, made a lot of money out of it.
Let's pause here for a moment. Just as we wanted to thank you for taking the time to watch this podcast, we're going to be giving one lucky winner a 25K two-step account. In order to enter, please put a comment below with your favorite part of the interview and subscribe to the channel. Now let's get back to the podcast. Thank you for watching.
The majority of your time is still very hard. I would say that if you were to say like how much of your time trading is happy or sad, I would say the majority of it probably is sadness. It's dealing with a lot of frustration, even to remain successful. So I guess on that, what are some of sort of the your worst moments as a trader, or what are the downsides of it been to you, both in the content that you've put online to educate traders, but also just generally in your own experience?
I'll just say that if you do not see people around you do trade, then you might not believe in it, and you might actually start to believe that this is not possible. Because whenever you go on the internet, the first thing which we see everywhere is that trading is very risky, investing is very risky, and it is very hard. I think we have like 2-3% of profitable traders, but all the traders are actually losing money on a daily basis. And we also heard a lot of stories where people have literally lost their life savings trading. But again, it comes down to what did they actually do. If you are risking your entire life savings on trading, then that is not the way you approach it in the first place. And coming to my worst moments in trading, it was when I really struggled for many years to actually get profitable. And I was actually like, there was a moment where I thought that maybe I should just quit this, maybe I should just leave trading, and maybe I should just go and do my master's or go and do a job or just go and join a firm, because I didn't really have any guidance to begin with. When I talk about guidance, yes, I did take a lot of courses, I did read a lot of books, but that is something very broad, right? You don't have one person, you don't have like a leading trader, let's say, who's teaching you exactly what to do. So it is a lonely journey where you figure things out by yourself, because honestly, nobody can really teach you what exactly you need to do. That is something which you need to figure out yourself. So yes, it was very lonely, and especially when I thought I made it and then I ended up blowing a lot of accounts, and you're just blowing accounts. And then when I got funded my first account, then I ended up having a loss on the first day, and I was like, maybe that, like, you just lose trust in the process whenever you take a loss. I just feel like till date I do have moments where I'm like, maybe it's not working out, but you need to remind yourself that just because you had one bad day in trading, that doesn't mean that you're not. If you had a bad day, think about it. Whenever your stop loss gets hit, there is some person who made money, right? Your stop loss got hit, but the other person actually made money. If they can make money, then you can too. And if there are people out there in this world who are profitable, then you can also be profitable.
You've hit a really great point there, and we don't talk about this enough. You gotta realize it's a market at the end of the day. I think it's so easy. The way trading is formatted and taught these days, it's all around candlesticks, charts, patterns, things like that. But what we remove from that, and even when people talk about liquidity, it's always like, oh, look at this liquidity, on the chart and things like that. But they're not looking at the actual underlying thing of markets, which is it is buyers being matched with sellers, sellers being matched with buyers. And I think that's it's a very important point to realize. You're not fighting with a chart. You're not trading against a chart. There are other strategies, other people out there that are working off what you're doing and are on the other side of it. And both, that's important psychologically to understand that, but it's also technically and fundamentally worth it as well to understand that, because you can understand why the price moves, what is happening out there, which is very interesting. So I think you said earlier that you studied economics originally. Now I know you've moved into CFDs. Has having an economics degree assisted in your trading at all, would you say? And I always ask people this, how their formal education impacts their day-to-day trading or understanding of general finance as well.
I'll not say that it really helped me, but I'll also not say that it didn't help me, because when you are trading, obviously technical analysis and all of that was not really a part of my economics degree.
Very true.
Maybe if I was a if I used to do fundamental analysis, I might have found my degree useful in that case. But at the same time, I also do believe that understanding how the banks work, because end of the day, you are trading in currencies. I will just say that more than the education part, when I was studying for my degree, I had to work so hard. I had to put in a lot of work, and that patience, I just feel like those skills really helped me in trading as well. Because since I studied a lot and since I used to work so hard to get good grades in university, good grades in school, that kind of hard work, that's something which the degree taught me. Not so much about the subject. It didn't really help me in trading, but it did help me build some skills which I use in trading.
And I think that's a very true answer for most people. And that's why I always ask people, because, I worked in brokers, I worked at a prop firm, and, I technically studied, I say technically because I don't think I cared about it too much at the time, but I studied finance at university and have never used any of it, even in the in-depth parts of working at financial institutions, never used any of it. But I always wonder with traders who study economics, I agree, like if you're a fundamentalist trader, looking at large macro swings, related to inflation, interest and that, it would definitely assist.
Yeah.
So you trade mostly on the technicals then. What instruments, do you usually specialize in, or a sort of main part of your portfolio or trading strategy?
My favorite instrument is gold, and I would rate gold as the first instrument, and then NAS 100, and after that Euro USD.
Okay.
Primarily I trade these, and I've also recently started trading futures, so I trade ES mini and gold mini.
It's a very interesting point to bring up because we are sort of in the final stages of launching our futures firm, which has been a very long time coming. For anyone watching, probably has been holding me to account for that for the last few months. So how have you found the transition from CFD into futures? I was literally talking about this in a podcast before because, obviously you can trade like S&P or NASDAQ CFDs and that, but then you can trade like ES minis, NASDAQ minis, things like that as well on the futures side. And even though same price movements, generally very different, fundamentals of how the liquidity, order books and things work on that as well. So how has the transition or the move over to futures been for you, or what have you found different to CFDs?
I use order flow in my trading,
Okay.
and order flow works the best in futures. And when I trade Forex, I refer to the futures chart to get the order flow data. Now I'm just like, when I'm anyway doing that, I might as well just directly trade futures as well. And besides that, there are many more benefits. Like when I was backtesting my strategy, and I backtested S&P extensively, and I realized that the futures chart was really suitable for my kind of trading. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And also the spreads were something which were a little bit better in futures. And we have a lot of traders who are moving into futures. I just feel like if there is something new in the market, if there is something new, you might as well learn it, and you might as well see if that works for you.
Yeah, it's a very good point. And I think as we've seen more firms move into the future space, we've seen creators and educators also sort of follow suit, as it is more popular it's very popular in the United States. Obviously, that's sort of the homeland of it. What I found very interesting is because obviously CFD prop firms have gained a lot of popularity in India. But now this trend has been set because a lot of firms have moved into futures. The US does set the tone for a lot of the market. I've now found it interesting that, I've had at the conference, I had a lot of creators from India come up to me, ask about the futures firm and that. And so we're now seeing that growing popularity. Like I know trading like local futures options and stocks is very popular. But we've now seen this move of a lot of Indian traders going into futures.
I am super excited for Blueberry futures. I'm looking forward to it.
I am very excited too. It has been quite a journey, and it's been a journey, and it's probably a good time to talk about this as well. It's been a journey because, look, a lot of prop firms at the end of last year, CFD firms, were diving into futures. And when everyone dives, and I talk to a lot of firm owners, and they're like, oh, it's so much more profitable futures. It's a better profit margin for firms, a very different asset class. And I don't know. I don't really like that mindset. I don't like the idea of easy money. Like our ethos is always chase the hard money in the industry. Don't just race to the bottom. So when people say like, it's like in trading, oh, it's a sure thing, it's easy money. I'm like, I don't really believe in easy money, or if it is there, it's not there. It's not sustainable, or it's not there for the long term. So we sort of stood back a bit to watch all these people dive into the future space because I said, and we are still seeing this now. I said, my money is on the future space becoming another race to the bottom, because once a lot of the CFD providers get into it, we'll see the same game play out of bigger and bigger discounts, easier and easier rules, no proper risk management or understanding of the business. So maybe I'm just a huge cynic, but that was sort of my mindset. But we've sat and watched for a while. But the thing with us is, being backed by a broker, like we don't take US traders on the CFD business. CFD trading in the US is quite high risk, especially for brokers, and being associated with a broker, we take it very seriously. However, I think with Blueberry Futures, wanting to take take on the US market, you know, if we're going to do it, we're going to do it, you know, the most compliant and legal framework that there is, even though it is still largely unregulated. So look, we've been ready to go for a long time, but I think most of the delays have been more on the compliance side. We want to dot the I's, cross the T's on really everything that we can to make sure that, you know, it's offered in a very compliant manner. So, and that takes time, you know, when you're talking to lawyers, legal counsel and stuff. And, you know, you got like emails back and forth. There's a week delay each time. So it's really led sort of the launch date of this out. But I'm kind of glad in a way. It's a double-edged sword. So, you know, we've been ready to launch this for months, but I've been very glad that it actually got delayed. It's one of those sort of blessing and a curse at the same time, because, you know, we've seen a lot of new entrants into the market the last few months. We've continued to see that race to the bottom. And I think waiting a bit longer has allowed us to also formalize our challenges to be, you know, as good as possible for the space. So we've probably gone a bit off track now, but I just wanted to sort of touch on that as well. But I'm glad you're excited for Blueberry Futures.
Yeah, and the thing about Blueberry is that when I trade with you guys, I just feel like this is not just a business for you, but you guys actually want to help the traders out, and we matter.
Yeah, I mean, it's a hard journey we've been on, because sometimes caring about people means you have to be a bit stern.
Yeah.
You know, and there's a very false narrative in this space, which is the firm that makes it the cheapest and the easiest to get funded and paid out is therefore the best firm. And, you know, that's not even just dodgy basement prop firms doing that strategy. There are very large firms in the top 10 that also do that. And to a degree, you can respect them because it's like you're just trying to give traders what they want, but you're not encouraging sound long-term trading, or in my opinion, sound long-term business, as you operate on a margin that can't give you adequate liquidity reserves in case of a crisis or a large industry shake-up or market move, like brokers saw with the Swiss National Bank decision back in 2015. So it's one where, look, we started with a very strict narrative. We have very conservative rules. You know, we've released things lately that have been a lot more flexible for traders, but we only released those things when we had the data to know that the risk management was sound. So things like instant funding, our new prime challenge, which gives traders a lot more, you know, a lot more breathing room and flexibility for different kinds of strategies. So it's always kind of tough because, yeah, I always say that we're kind of like the stern father of the prop space, you know. Yeah. You know, we might be very strict, but it's done because, like, we actually care at the end of the day. And look, the data really shows that as well, in that, you know, we might be a firm that's harder to pass, but when you pass, you essentially, the data shows the chances of being profitable under these rules is higher because they're strict, but they're strict for a reason, because they're making you better. They're stopping you from over leveraging, stopping you from over trading, and a whole range of other things. So look, it means a lot when we have people on these podcasts, these interviews, and the Discord everywhere saying, like, you know, and they are sometimes in the minority, but they're like, I'm actually glad you have these rules because they keep me in check. And that's what we're here to do. That's what a prop firm at its core actually is. It's like, even though, look, we know it's simulated capital, we know how it all works. It's the idea that, you know, we're there to care and nurture the traders, and the traders are there to obviously, like, be part of the business ultimately as well. So, you know, it's not always easy doing that. There can be conflicts and things like that as time, as we know in this space. But I think, look, our commitment to community and the space is really big, because that's what drew me to the prop space from the business side originally. You know, the Forex broking side was very stable. And what I would always see, you know, for many years is all these younger and younger people were getting into trading, you know, getting into crypto, NFTs, the GameStop saga, options trading and things like that. And I'm always looking at it like, broker traders are just getting older and older. We're just going to be left behind. And then props came out and they borrowed a lot, I think, from the crypto space, Discord, community, people on X, and so many more content creators like yourself. And actually, like, in my opinion, good content creators, like you said, people that are a lot more authentic. They're showing you their real life, the upside, the downside. It's a bit more exciting and real too, but it actually teaches you a lot more. So that's what's drawn me from the broker side into the prop space, you know, switching to the dark side, as I always joke. But that's what we want to maintain as well in what we do, but do it with a lot more professionalism, being backed by a broker, the infrastructure, and, you know, top level execution that a broker can bring. So that's kind of our ethos and how we operate. But I guess bringing it back to yourself and your journey, what's next for you? I mean, because that's the thing, I think when we talk to traders, it's always about what they've achieved up until this point, but trading's never-ending journey, where you keep learning, failing, succeeding, and, you know, it's never. I think the problem is people think with trading, it's like, I've made it now, and that moment, and even in business too, it's like there's a point you hit where you're like, I've made it. But the thing is, like, when you ever reach that point, the problem's bigger because you have a lot more at stake in that. And that's an important thing to take in mind. So I guess like, what is the future for trading for you, or what direction do you want to go in?
Honestly, as of now, I just keep improving on my trading and I try to get more and more payouts and try to get bigger funded accounts. Right now, that is my dream. But eventually, when I reach there, my dream's going to change. I don't know what I'll be doing 5 years from now. All I know is that I will always be trading. If not trading, I don't know what I'll do, honestly. But I don't know. I'm really thinking about building some tools, building something in the trading space, which maybe like a journal or maybe like a backtesting tool. It's just, if you are thinking of starting a business, let's say maybe I want to start a business 5 years later, it would always be something which I needed in my journey. Just giving, that's the reason why I even create content. It is to help traders and give them stuff which I didn't have when I started my journey. Maybe something I'm really not sure what I'll be doing. All I know is that I will be trading even after 5 years.
I can relate to that a lot, actually, because I feel like everything I've done, even though I don't have much time to trade anymore, regrettably, but I think it's always around trading, whether it was brokers and into prop firms, the tech side of the prop space. I think it's like, and that's what I love about the industry now, is there's so many things that are trading centric outside of just being a broker or a trader. You know, we're seeing content creators, we're seeing new forms of tech, like we're seeing these entrepreneurial guys in their early 20s, you know, building these great trade journals and stuff that are better than the ones brokers were building 10 years ago. And it really excites me because it means that like the trading space or the business of trading is becoming so much greater and bigger, and there's opportunities for people to do new things. I mean, we get so many great ideas or things for people coming to us. You know, these people aren't in business, you know, they haven't been in tech or fintech or things like that or worked at a broker, but they come to us with ideas or plans, and, you know, they're better things than I've heard like industry professionals ever talk about. And that's what excites me a lot, is that's what made the prop firm space big originally, was it was very grassroots, organic growth. It wasn't imposed from above or anything. It was this offering that was made by people who were traders, you know, people that were involved in the trading community, trading educators, people that were really close, you know, had their ear to the ground. And I think that's something that like is really amazing in the space right now. So it's really awesome to hear that that's something you want to move into or do other things around. But look, it's been really exciting to have you on. Samya, like, you know, again, first in-person Trader Spotlight that we've done, hopefully the first of many. I'd love to do a lot more in Dubai as well, so I'm hoping you'll be coming back in the future. Plans?
I will be back again next year for the expo.
Fantastic. No, I think we definitely will be too. I think it's something that you just can't really afford to miss now. Like, I mean, I've been here before just as a visitor. I've been to a lot of expos in Dubai and around the world, but I think it's to the point now where like the Forex Expo, Dubai in October, is sort of like the big ticket one where like everyone who is anyone is here. So I think, I'm kind of compelled to always come from now on, and Blueberry will likely, you know, have a booth and be involved, and we're very excited for it.
We will have Blueberry Futures next year.
Well, we might have a few booths: Blueberry Funded, Blueberry Futures,
markets.
Maybe even the next business after that.
Yeah.
We're always thinking about ideas. But it will be really great to see you here, you know, as well as being involved in Blueberry Funded as a trader and creator in the future.
Yes, I'm really looking forward to do this, and I'm super excited to see what happens in the future.
Fantastic. It's been great to have you on, Samya.
Thank you so much for having me. This was such a fun conversation.
Fantastic. Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you on the next one.